on the other. Hello, welcome. Oh, look, Wendy has shown up out in the west somewhere
Oh, nice.
at her campsite. So this is welcome to this week, and as the headlines say, Zillow reports the sky is falling in.
Well,
Right after this message.
Zillow confirms. I love it. It's like, did their algorithm tell them that?
Yes, and we always believe what Zillow says. Excuse me. So thank you so much for joining us on the Real Estate Investor Show, Hard Money for Real Estate Investors. We are Carolina Capital Management. We are lenders in the Southeast for real estate professionals. If you have a project that you would like us to take a look at, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you are a passive investor looking for passive returns, go to the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And don't forget about Wednesdays with Wendy. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so Wendy devotes 30 minutes per person on Wednesdays. There's the link to her calendar. Check it out. She's usually booked a couple of months in advance. Now it's 3 because she took a month off, sort of, on a vacation. As you can see, she's at her, what do you call that? Campsite?
This is a campsite. We're in just outside of Sedona, Arizona, in a place called Jerome.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
They have actual vegetation there. It's not desert-like.
It's just a little bit. Most of it's, rock and like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can see all that rock, but it's between 100 to 110. It's not bad.
My first question is, does the air conditioner work?
Inside it does, yes. It works well.
Well, I'm assuming inside. Well, let me finish this up. We are speaking at Quest Expo, so let's plug that real quick. Sounds like the music can't catch up with itself. So Quest Expo, it's a great place to be if you want to learn about self-directed IRAs and how to invest it. We have a code for discount, Fairman30. And all I'm going to say is you should go, you should go, you should go.
Yeah. Any kind of investing, note investing, buying real estate, what have you. I mean, even if you want to look, I think they even have crypto and gold and
oil and gas.
Oil and gas.
Of course, it's under attack right now, but still oil and gas. If you want to be in, you need to be in the energy sector right now. That's the one that's going to have the most growth either way, whether it's clean renewables or awful fossil fuels that are the most efficient. You need to be in energy. Okay. So, Wendy, how's your vacation going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of going in and out for me, and I'm sure it's probably
You are.
my problem because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I told you.
No, okay. It's,
It's a
all right. Don't
bad
worry.
connection.
You just stare at me. I'll just move on. Okay.
Move on.
Excuse me. So I know we did this last week. I've got another person. I don't want. I get a lot of questions from our investors, worried about what's happening with the economy, and they keep seeing all these headlines that the sky is falling in, and it bothers them, and I get that, but they need some help understanding what's really going on in the marketplace
Yeah, we need to make sure we understand sensationalism and headlines.
Yeah.
And like Zillow, the housing market is crashing. That's a headline.
And don't get me wrong, it's a great way to get eyes
Mm-hmm.
on your site. It's we call it clickbait.
Yeah.
You see those headlines, people are going to click it on automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So somehow I ran across this particular video from Daryl Miner. He's does a lot of videos on real estate investing, real estate in general, and he has a course. There's his YouTube channel. You can check it out for yourself. And while he's a nice guy, he does. If you look at his what do you call them, the little splash images,
Mm-hmm.
It's always the sky is falling in. Versus, there are a few good points on some of them with some arrows going up, but most of them are going down. And I get that. He's trying to get eyes on the channel, but I want to help alleviate some folks' fear based on some of the data he's getting from Zillow.
Okay.
So let's play the first clip, Scott.
Situation in the housing market is continuing to go down, and down. But let's jump right into this. It says housing affordability hits 15-year low as prices, mortgage rates rise. May 2022 market report. We've known that affordability when it comes to the housing situation is getting ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous. It's getting to a point where no one can afford a home because we have interest rates that are ridiculously high. And what is the number one thing that I always say? For every 2% that the interest rate goes up, you lose $200,000 of buying power. Just think of that. Currently, you've lost $200,000 or more in buying power based on these interest rates. And no one wants to go down from a $300,000 home to a $100,000 home. No one wants that. Mortgage payments are higher than rent in 45 of the 50 largest U.S. metros, up from 22 in 2019. What did they just say?
All right, so we're going to unpack a little bit of that. Mortgage rates are not ridiculously high.
If anything, they're still ridiculously low. I mean, what is it? 7.9 is the historical average of mortgage rates, and we're at 5.5.
Yeah. Now, when he did this video in May, the rates had climbed up to in the sixes for a short period of time. So I get that, but they've settled back down a little bit since then. But
now, comparatively, are they high from historic lows of 2.8? Yeah, sure. But I mean, if we only look at the market from a 3-year perspective, yeah, we can lose sight really quickly of what's going on, and we can get, believing that we are in historical highs. But if you look back, I mean, anything under 8% is still, on average, low.
Yeah, and we talked about this before. Even if you're at 6%, over time, you're paying dollars back that are going down in value versus rents that are continue to go up if you rent.
Yeah, see what he's, inflation, if it continues, you're
Right.
using today's dollars that stay consistent over the 30-year period to pay
Sure.
down. Yeah.
And the last thing I'm going to say about this is my interest rate was 14.5%. I know I've said this before. When I bought my first house, that was the FHA going rate. So I would have been really happy at that rate. Now, yes, prices have gone up, and we need that to try and lower the appreciation rates. Wendy, you got anything to add?
If I do, it's probably going to be choppy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine for now.
We just love the background. Stay there because we just love the background.
Listen, I'd love to stay here. It's pretty awesome. I agree. I think that this guy's just way over the top with him talking about the mortgage rates being so high, because it really is. It's like 7.81 since 1971 has been our average, and that's pretty incredible, and it's way lower than inflation, right?
Yeah. Currently.
Well, and also, so what do you all think about? I think he said, I always say this for every 2% interest rates rise, you lose $200,000 of buying power. Do you think that's true? Or
I don't know. I'd have to calculate it.
I
Yeah,
think
we'll
that
calculate that.
I think that's too simple of
If it's 2% on this one and then another 2% on top of the 2% that it went up, now it's 4% higher. So
I think that's too simplistic of an explanation. I mean, you have appreciation. So if interest rates go up 2% at the same time that you have appreciation at 20% on a house in a year, I think that statement might be true. If rates go up 2% and appreciation on homes are back at their average of 1 to 3%, I don't think that's true.
Well, he's probably talking about a snapshot in time, and that's probably credible. All right, Scott, let's go to the next one.
Scott says, were rates artificially low?
Yes.
Yes.
Appreciation is finally starting to slow, easing slightly from 20.9% annual growth in April to 20.7% in May. Yes? And why is that going to happen? Because we are inching closer and closer to a recession. And what you don't want is you don't want to be left with the hot potato in your hand with a house that you overpaid for with a high interest rate that is now worth less than what you bought it for. So how does that look? You buy a house for $350,000, the recession hits, and you overpaid $50,000 for it, so it was really worth $300,000, but now it's only worth $250,000, so now you're $100,000 under now? We don't know. Inventory continues to recover from February lows, but it's still 50% below 2019 levels. Well, I expect that, but remember when everyone was saying, inventory is so low, the housing market's gonna go 20, 30, 40% like it did year over year over year over year for the next 5 years? Those people are crazy. There's no way that the housing market can continue to go up that fast at that continued rate. Inventory is going to slow because people are...
All right, so let's unpack a couple of these statements.
I love this
Have
guy.
you noticed how he was concerned that the appreciation rate was dropping from 20.9% all the way down to 20.7%?
Woo!
Again, the average appreciation
of
a property since the 50s has been like 3.5%.
Yeah. So I didn't watch these videos. I had no clue that he was, but so I nailed it. 2% with 20%.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And another thing was owning a home in a recession, it's going to drop $50,000 or it's going to drop in value at all. Scott, put up that price graph for me. All right, so here's the U.S. price index since 1900, the year 1900. If you look at this graph, you see one place in the entire history, well, maybe two. But one major in 1990. But there's basically only one place where it historically dropped a bunch, and that was the crash in 2008, which was caused by housing. This recession has nothing to do with housing. This recession has to do with policy and energy costs being too high, which is also caused by policy. Of course, some of it has to do with the pandemic. I'm going to give them credit for that, and the supply chain issues.
Yeah.
This is not a housing recession that is going to be coming up, and the Fed really has no tools in their toolbox other than to raise rates. But this is not a housing recession. Your house is not going to go down in value. It may be harder to afford a house, I agree.
Yeah.
Because everything else costs more too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't argue with any of that stuff, but you're not going to buy a house now and expect to have it go down in value. What do you guys think?
No, I mean, so there's one occurrence in 120 years of data where values went down even close to $50,000, like his example. one time, and like you said, it was due to what we had, the subprime market. I mean, we had tranches of securitizations that were falsified, a lot of data. I mean, it was a housing crisis. Yeah. This is not. I don't think that. I mean, will your home lose value? No. Will it not be worth as much as fast as it has? Yeah. I mean, appreciation has to slow down, and inventory is picking up for housing, which will hopefully help bring that down. Interest rates rising will help bring that down. But to say that we're going to lose value at this point, I don't subscribe to that. I don't see any data that would point to that result.
Wendy?
Yeah, the thing that's going to hurt people is the cost of everything else. That's what's falling from the sky. Is right. The cost of everything else. You know, traveling out west, we've had to fill my car up at least twice a day at $125 a pop.
Wow. And it costs a lot of money to tow your house around with you.
The large that would be getting 8 to 9 miles per gallon, but the cost of gas that I've seen coming across the country, the lowest I saw it was $3.86, believe it or not, and I've seen it over $5 a gallon. So it's those things that are going to put the serious dent in everybody's wallets. Everything else, food, everything.
Yeah, I mean, we said this before. I mean, goods and services and commodities like that, like they have to come down in value long before your house ever would. I mean, people are still like, I'll give you an example. My LLC bought a vehicle. To buy that vehicle, it had to pay a premium over MSRP because you can't get vehicles right now. And they just increased the premium that they're charging for those vehicles over the MSRP. I think it's now like $10,000 over MSRP. Yep. So those things have to stop occurring long before housing value will ever get touched, because people will not buy cars or new cars long before they'll ever say, I don't need a house.
People always need a place to live, no matter what. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one there, Scott.
Go up, guys. Incomes are lagging further behind fast rising mortgage costs, leading to the most significant and affordable challenges in the past 15 years. The latest affordability data available from April shows monthly payments taking about 28% of homeowners' monthly income, dangerously close to the 30% threshold beyond which is considered a cost burden. Now, we know that, guys. Like, we know that I did a video on that where I talked about how close we're getting to individuals getting to that burden cost, that point where we were in 2008 when people just gave up homes. We're 2% close to that number, guys. That should scare you guys, and know that something is coming around the corner. You see all of these red flags. There is no way that we're coming around the corner and you see 30,000 flags that are all red and they're all in the bucket of housing market, and you still don't think that there's going to be a recession? Make it make sense. Although rents have soared since the start of 2021, the rapidly rising cost of a mortgage still make rent a cheaper option. Typically, monthly rents in the United States, basically $2,000. Monthly rents are up 15.9%. The pace of annual rent growth slowed for the third consecutive month. Whoa, look at that. It's slow. Look at that. It's going down.
Okay. That one.
Okay. There's 3 things Bill wants to talk about on that one.
Okay. Number 1. He mentions, oh, damn, I've already forgotten it. All right. So I'll go to
number 2.
Wage. Scott, pull up that wage graph I put on here. He is correct. Wages are not keeping up with inflation, but wages are not stagnant. Here's a graph right up through December 2021. Do you see any wages going down? No, they're all going up, and they're actually going up more than the trend line. So they're actually going up higher than they had been previously.
Mhm.
That little dotted line is the trend line from 2019. So they actually increased quite a bit in 2021. Same thing with 2022, I'm assuming, but I can't get the data. But they're still not keeping up with inflation. All right, you can drop that if you like, Scott.
Yeah.
Here's the hyperbole. What he's talking about with getting up to that 30% of housing cost, this is for new buyers. This is not for people that are already in their houses. There's not going to be a housing crash for people that currently own their house with the ridiculously low rates that we had. These are people that haven't bought the house yet. This is why it's not affordable. And I get it. There are going to be people that can't afford houses. But that happens in every market cycle. There's people that are new home buyers in that range. They can't afford it. They're going to have to get their debt down in order to do it. And even if their debt is complete, if they're debt free and their housing costs are still at 30% of their total income, they're not going to qualify for a house unless they borrow less money, put more money down, borrow less money, or find a less expensive home. All that said, again, the sky is not falling in.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think did he say that rents are higher than the average mortgage?
Yes, in a lot of these cities,
that's not true.
Rent is higher. And then let's talk about that.
Well,
if your mortgage is stagnant, but they're still higher than rents, do you think rents are going to go up or down over time?
Correct. They're going to go up. But maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm pulling from my brain here from something I read before. But I thought the average mortgage was $1,800 in the United States.
Yeah, I don't know where
I'll have to go look that up, because if he's saying the average rent is $1,927, then the average mortgage is not over $2,000. Now, like the average mortgage in the Northeast probably is, if you want to break it down to regions. But I think if we wash it all together, I don't think that's a true statement. But let me research that and we'll get back.
But yeah, if you're telling people that it's better to rent because mortgage payments are too high, that's only temporary. If you still buy a house and your mortgage payment is slightly higher than the average rent for that area, eventually the rent is going to be higher than the mortgage payment because the mortgage payment is fixed.
Correct.
All right, Wendy.
Yeah.
All right, so she's just nodding.
Yeah. But I mean, so rents have risen very quickly over a short period of time due to a lot of factors that we've already discussed. Will they continue to rise at that rate? No, they will not. I mean, I think there's a lot of people, and I'm one of them. They've kind of hit their peak for a little while. I don't think we're going to see, 10 and 15% rent growth over the next few years. I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be way, way smaller.
Sure. And rents don't have to go up quickly, but they will. If you're a smart landlord, you're going to make sure that your good tenants can stay in the place.
Yeah.
And as inflation continues to go up, I mean, there's some costs that can be passed through. There's some costs that can't be. So you may have to have a little bit less of a margin, but the same holds true. The value of your property as a landlord is going up, and hopefully you've got your loans locked in. Now it depends. If it's a commercial loan and you have to refinance after a certain period of time, then you're kind of out of luck there. But
yeah,
people don't want to evict folks unless they're tearing the place up or not paying.
Yeah. I saw an interesting some data in a graph. I think it's a couple days ago. It was showing the trend line between wage growth and housing, value growth.
Right.
So from I think it went back to 1980. From 1980 up until 2000 and what was it? It was like 2018, 19. They were pretty consistent. It's only after 2019, when we have the pandemic and everything, where you see it actually separate, where housing values are rising at a much higher trend than wages. So it's a very new phenomenon. And what we know about new phenomenons is we don't know.
Right.
Is it going to be a trend that continues? Probably not.
This is part of market forces correcting themselves.
Yeah.
And this is something that's needed. So I'm going to summarize today what we're talking about. Don't pay attention to the headlines. They're generally it's noise. You need to get into the meat of the data. We need a slowdown in the market. We have to, because what has been going on is unsustainable. We need to have at least 6 months worth of inventory. And I think through most of the country, we're still working on 1 to 2 months worth of inventory. And that's why the prices went up so high. They will eventually come back down. And
they already are.
Yeah.
We're already seeing we're seeing softening in price points that you don't even, I didn't even expect. We're seeing softening in under 250 price points.
Right.
Like I didn't expect that.
That's a little unusual.
Yeah.
But the key is getting them out there. So
hold on,
Wendy. Hang on, Wendy. I got something for you. What about the last word?
Something for you.
This is for Wendy. Did you see the graph?
Let's hope it. Yeah, that's really cool. Let's hope it comes across so you can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So, shoot, I forgot what I was going to say now. It was really good.
The graphics blew your mind.
No, we did a special show last week on Sunrisers where we were talking about the days on market and the number of houses available. And we still only have a little over 1 month supply in the Charlotte area, which is really low. And somebody was on there from Virginia saying the same thing, that their supply is the same. It's still at 1 month where it should be 6. 6 is normal.
Yeah.
So that's it.
This is why the trend line that Jonathan was talking about has kind of veered off, where the affordability based on income is off the track, because there was not enough inventory. People were buying stuff up. We have to get it normalized in order to sustain this. And the market will fix itself eventually. Is there going to be a little bit of slowness in the market? Is there going to be a little bit of pain for first-time home buyers? Absolutely. But just hang in there. It's not a market crash. The sky is not falling in. I'm not wearing a helmet.
Well, and I just want to say, it's something that I tell my 9-year-old daughter. When she wants me to give her an answer instead of her thinking through it. If you want someone else to think for you and give you the answer, they always will. They always will. But what we need to do as savvy investors is not get our information from one source, get our information from multiple sources, and use people, industry professionals or friends or whatever, multiple sounding boards, and pull that information through funnels so that we can pull out the important pieces. Because you can watch a YouTube video and think, well, my house is worth $100,000 less than it was 2 months ago. I'm screwed. That's no. Look in, find multiple sources and think through these things, and align yourself with people like Wendy or Bill, to sound, to use as a sounding board. Wednesday with Wendy is a great tool. She is a great sounding board for anything to do with real estate. So utilize those.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're running over time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are the Real Estate Investor Show, hard money for real estate investors. We are Carolina Capital Management, if I can remember our name.
They put it there on the screen for
We
you.
are lenders in the Southeast for real estate professionals. If you have a project you'd like us to look at, go to carolinahardmoney.com. Click on the Apply Now tab. If you are a passive investor looking for passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and don't forget about Wednesdays with Wendy. We will see you guys next week. Hope you enjoy your vacation, Wendy. She said bye.